Imagine this. In 2011, a boy of just 12 years old appeared, breaking youth records at Barcelona, surpassing none other than Lionel Messi. He wasn't Argentine, Spanish, or Brazilian. He was a boy from South Korea named Lee, who would quickly be nicknamed by the global press as the Korean Messi. And it wasn't a joke. Newspapers and TV channels at the time really spread that idea. It sounds absurd, right? As if there were an Indian Ronaldo or an Icelandic Neymar. La Masia, Barcelona's famous academy, has always been full of talented youngsters dreaming of becoming the next Messi. But suddenly, an Asian teenager appeared, breaking the Argentine star's records. The most curious thing is that, for Lee himself, this didn't seem out of the ordinary. That year, scouts traveled to the Danenau Nations Cup, held in South Africa. And there, a South Korean boy enchanted everyone. He dribbled past entire teams, reminiscent of Maradona's best moments. Labeling a teenager so highly might seem exaggerated, even reckless. But the joy he caused was so great that no one could resist the comparison. And then the question arises, what happens when a federation, a giant club, and even an entire country place their hopes on a young player who has yet to play professionally? This is the journey of Lee, the boy who carried the weight of being called the Korean Messi. From the age of 10, Lee already did whatever he wanted on the field against much older opponents. His coaches said he was a playmaking machine and learned like a sponge. Any trick taught on Monday would become a deadly weapon in his feet by Friday. At first, he relied entirely on his right foot. He did everything with it. But through discipline and intense training, he corrected that limitation. He worked so much on his left foot that he became ambidextrous, something extremely rare at any level. Combined with his low center of gravity, acceleration, and sudden changes of direction, he was directly compared to idols like Maradona and Messi. In October 2010, he wore the South Korea U-12 jersey to compete in the Nations Cup in Johannesburg. They were the best players of his age in the world, under the attentive eyes of Europe's biggest clubs. And no one expected that this Asian boy would end the tournament as top scorer, with 7 goals in 6 matches. Many even said watching him was like seeing a young Messi again. It didn't take long before Barcelona scouts called Catalonia, ecstatic, "We found the right boy." Within days, Barca offered a scholarship for Lee to study and play at La Masia. 6 weeks later, the boy and his family were already in Barcelona. In his first season with the academy, he broke the age-based goal record previously held by Messi, 39 goals in 29 matches. Something unimaginable for any other child. In addition, he won awards for Best Player in 4 prestigious tournaments. It was at that moment that the nickname that would stay with him forever was born, the Asian Messi. In South Korea, his popularity exploded. He was seen as the future of the country's football. Spanish journalists even described him as a forward with the soul of a midfielder. With so much pressure, they asked the young boy what he thought about the nickname. And he, still with the innocence of a teenager, replied, "I see Messi up close. I want to be like him. My goal is to be the first Korean to play in Barcelona's first team." 3 years later, in 2014, at the Asian U-16 Championship held in Thailand, Lee was already considered the most famous youth player in Asia. He scored decisive goals in the group stage and before facing Japan, made a statement that caused controversy: "Beating Japan will be easy." This sparked debate, as the historical rivalry between the two countries is intense. But Lee did not disappoint. At the start of the match, he left the Japanese defense behind and found the net. Later, he scored again. Japan was eliminated, and even rival defenders admitted, after he passes you, there's no way to catch him. In the semifinals against Syria, he shined with a goal and 4 assists in the 7-1 thrashing. In the final against North Korea, they lost, but Lee left as the best player of the tournament and top scorer. It was his crowning moment. But soon came the blow. In 2014, FIFA sanctioned Barcelona for violating rules regarding the signing of foreign minors. Lee's case was precisely among them. The result, he was prohibited from participating in official competitions for almost 2 years. No league, no cup, no friendlies. Only training. Crucial years were lost. Between ages 16 and 17, most young players compete in around 30 matches per season, gaining experience and rhythm. Lee, on the other hand, watched time pass by. Even with tempting offers from clubs like Chelsea and Arsenal, who considered making him the highest-paid teenager in England, he chose to stay at Barcelona. But the lack of matches was fatal. His on-field intuition declined, his instincts were no longer the same, and his confidence began to wane. When he finally returned to play in 2016, he hoped to follow the path of other young talents who emerged from Barca B. However, the line was already long. He ended up playing just 1 minute before being negotiated with Hellas Verona in Italy. And right in his Serie A debut against Milan, he shone. Coming on in the second half, he scored a stunning goal from outside the area. It seemed like the start of a new era, but it wasn't. Verona was relegated to the second division, and Lee only scored that single goal throughout the season. In Serie B, he played 27 matches, but again scored only once. Afterward, he moved through clubs in Belgium and Portugal, always with limited minutes and very few goals. At 23, with no space left in Europe, he decided to return to South Korea. He was signed by Suwon FC, where he rediscovered some good football, scoring 14 goals in 35 matches. He then continued with another club in the country, and after an emotional farewell, joined Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, where he still plays. At 27, rumors indicate he could return to Europe in lower leagues, such as Belgium or the Netherlands. But so far, his career has fallen far below what was imagined when he emerged as the Korean Messi. This story shows something important. In football, talent alone is not enough. Development, match continuity, and confidence are essential to transform promises into realities. Lee lost fundamental years and never fully recovered them. And the lesson remains, not everyone who's called the next Messi actually becomes one. And now, I want to know your opinion. Do you think Lee can still turn things around and write a chapter of success in his career, or do you think his story is already marked as another unfulfilled promise? Leave your opinion here in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell to follow more amazing stories from the world of football.